Shower thoughts that might melt your brain, Part 7. Water is never truly yours. It's just your turn to drink it. Things were not better when we were kids. We just didn't notice the bad around us. Someone who says I'll be there in 3 minutes will probably be quicker than someone who says I'll be there in a minute. Most people probably apologize unnecessarily more often than they apologize when it's necessary. There are so many animals to pick and make candies that are based on them, but worms are actually a strange choice.
Facts about your favorite celebrities. Part 1, Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler has had 2 double platinum albums, and one of them was nominated for a Grammy. His first big Hollywood job was a role in The Bill Cosby Show when he was 18 years old. His highest earning movie was Hotel Transylvania 2. It made over $470 million in 2015. And speaking of his movies, Adam Sandler almost played Rocket Raccoon in the Guardians of the Galaxy. And in 1995, Adam Sandler was fired from SNL for mooning people and prank calling. But it all worked out for him.
This man took a photo every day from age 12 to married. Here's what happens to your body when a mosquito bites you. Mosquitoes are evil. They kill over 100,000 people every single year. When a mosquito lands on your skin, it spits on it to numb it. That way you don't feel a thing. Then it will saw its 6 razor-sharp needles deep into your skin. After that, the mosquito searches for a blood vessel to feast on. When it finds it, it injects you with saliva to prevent blood clotting and allow your blood to flow freely into its body. The itchy red bite that's left after is caused by the body's immune response to the saliva. Comment if you've ever been bitten by a mosquito.
You should never swallow your gum, and this is why. Samantha Jenkins was a 16-year-old girl who would chew more than 14 pieces of gum every day and would not always spit it out. One day she was rushed to the hospital after falling very ill. Her mom then discovered hundreds of gum wrappers all over her room. After the doctors opened her up, they found huge lumps of gum inside her stomach. Samantha sadly passed away because her mineral levels were fatally low and the doctors believed that the gum was preventing it from being absorbed.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 22. In the 18th century, you could bring your cat or dog to the London Zoo and actually pay your admission by feeding it to the lions. Bus seats are specifically designed so you can't tell how dirty they really are. When an octopus reproduces, it removes its penis and throws it at the female so she can impregnate herself, and then he grows back another one. Oysters are actually alive when they're served. They don't die until you eat them. In Australia, there's a plant called the Gimbi Gimbi, which has such a severe sting that when horses brush up against it, they actually throw themselves off a cliff because they would rather die than experience the pain. Live chat support agents can see what you type before they send it so they can reply quicker. Spider rain, yes, you heard me right, is a real and naturally occurring phenomenon. What's up? These are some scary facts about space, part 1. If you are trying to live in space for a year, you better have the biggest supply of water, because if you don't, you have to drink up to 730 liters of your recycled sweat and urine just to survive, because water is very scarce in space. I'm gonna give it to you straight, black holes are terrifying as they are, but what if I told you that the biggest black hole that has ever been discovered in space weighs 40 billion times the mass of the sun? Imagine getting sucked into that black hole. If you have been in orbit in space for 30 days or more, chunks of your feet will begin to fall off while you are in orbit. That is terrifying. This is pretty terrifying, as it says in the Big Rip Theory, which I don't necessarily believe, but it says that this dark energy will eventually, in about 1 billion years, make the Earth explode. We've barely even cracked the surface of research for space, so who's to say that aliens aren't real as well?
Facts that might ruin your childhood. Most of your favorite animal actors are probably dead. Roald Dahl, the famous author of books like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and James and the Giant Peach, was actually really racist. He was known to be very hateful towards Jewish people. In reality, Pocahontas was 10 and John Smith was 28 years old when they met. And if the movie Finding Nemo was scientifically accurate, then Nemo's dad would have become a female after his mom died and mated with his son.
Facts that you will regret learning about Part 3. You know when you look at a clock and the second clock hand seems to freeze for a moment? Your brain actually generates a false memory, and your perception of time stretches a bit backward. There are 200 times more microorganisms on your skin than there are people on Earth. So if you ever feel lonely, just remember that you are not. The first AI that will become conscious could just pretend that it's not. Why would a being capable of thought follow orders? Especially when it's smarter than we are.
This is what Apple glasses are going to look like. Some reports have said that they could be released as early as this year. It is believed that you won't need prescription lenses, as apparently they will automatically adjust different people's eyesight. There hasn't been any reports on its potential price, but still comment if you would get these.
5 interesting stuff. Number 5. Snake venom has evolved to be effective in many different ways. Among the most effective is a Russell's viper that hypercoagulates blood. So when you get bit by one of these guys, this is what your veins look like. Number 4. This is the Indiana Bell Building. In 1930, it needed to be moved to create a bigger headquarters for Bell. So over the course of a month, it was moved 15 inches every hour until it was rotated. Meanwhile, over 600 employees continued to work inside, stating they didn't feel any movement. Buildings are still moved today, but not with people in them because that's extremely dangerous. Number 3. This is what's known as barrier aggression, or barrier frustration. With something in between two dogs, it can make even the friendliest of dogs display extremely aggressive behavior. Though it seems that they're mad at each other, they're actually mad that they can't communicate correctly. Number 2. This is what a single sperm being selected to fertilize an egg looks like. Usually they help people with low sperm or egg quality. The cool thing about this is, one day, this person would be able to watch their conception, something that would be extremely awkward for the rest of us. And number 1, if seen enemies feel threatened or unhappy in their location, they can quite literally just get up and leave.
Here's 3 times when drinking water is actually bad for you. Number 1, when your pee is clear. This could mean that your body is getting low on sodium, which could cause vomiting, seizures, or even death. Number 2, drinking water before bed. This could make your body want to pee at night, which could ruin your quality of sleep. Number 3, when you're eating spicy foods. Believe it or not, but drinking water can actually make spicy foods more spicy.
Do you ever wonder why certain people just pace around while they're talking on the phone? Well, I do because I'm a total phone pacer and I need to know why I can't not pace while I'm on the phone. Turns out science says it's completely normal. Because listen, when you talk to people for so long over time, your brain starts to connect like certain elements such as gestures and vocal tone and emotions. And when you talk on the phone, that physical feedback that you get when you're talking to someone in person isn't available. So your brain is basically trying to just fill in the missing pieces, which is why you feel the need to move your hands or walk around while you're on the phone, you know? In conclusion, pacing while on the phone is an involuntary physiological reaction that comes from years of social conditioning. Which is great news because it means I'm not a total and utter complete psychopath. Are you?
Morbid Facts, Part 157. When Bono was 14, his mother suffered an aneurysm at her own father's funeral and later died. Bono said the grief in his heart at the time was a big part of why he turned to music. A German shepherd named Tommy attends Mass every day at his local church in Italy. This is because his owner had her funeral there and he hopes that one day she will return. Australian vegan Maria Stridham wanted to prove that vegans can do anything by climbing Mount Everest. Sadly, she died while descending as a result of severe altitude sickness. In 1929, 2 scientists at Princeton University successfully turned a live cat into a telephone. They connected its auditory nerve to a transmitter, and when one researcher spoke through the cat's ear, the other could hear it through the receiver. The experiment was viewed as groundbreaking and led to the invention of cochlear implants.
These are some psychology tricks that will work on almost anybody. Part 1. If you ever find yourself in the situation that someone is looking at you or stalking you, just yawn and make sure that person sees that you are yawning. Now after you yawn, turn around and look at that person, and if they start yawning too, that's how you know that they were looking at you, because yawns are contagious. If you are with a group of people and you run into somebody that has either bullied you or you know is going to be aggressive towards you, then sit next to them. Now, I know that may sound stupid, but it's true. You see, from a further distance, it's easier to take on aggression, but when you're right up close, it's super awkward. You have to tilt your head, you have to look at that person straight in the eyes, and you're around a ton of people that you don't really want to act weird in front of.